Guys, this is Zach Campbell. You're listening to the Why So Serious show.
And now, stand up and make some noise
for your cast of the Why So Serious show on BlazeRadioOnline.com.
It is Wednesday, and it is time for the Why So Serious show. Jesse Morrison, Mallory Schnell, Evan Osherwitz, and we got a lot of sports stuff to talk about, but, we're going to start on a sour note. I feel like we've done this a lot this year. We only have 2 sour notes to talk about today. I forgot about one of them. But the first is that there were no murder charges brought in the Breonna Taylor case. It sparked a lot of outrage, especially in the sports world. There are a lot of the post-game reaction after Heat Celtics game 4 tonight was very I don't really have words for it, but it was good to hear, I guess, from the players. But where's the one that I really wanted to, Jaylen Brown was the one that I really wanted to talk about. He said, "I wasn't surprised by the verdict. This society, the way it was built, the intention was never to protect and serve people of color initially." And then he said, "Until we dismantle, recreate, or change this system that we have, it will continue to have victims like Breonna Taylor and others that fall victim to oppression." That's from Malika Andrews' account. And she did something that I think is very important, because I think through all of this, us as Cronkite students have kind of, felt like we can finally speak up about stuff. And she spoke on SVP. She was doing her live hit, and she kind of couldn't hold back from being a human being. And I respect her a lot more than I did before tonight. So I'm going to share my screen and play her clip.
And cover and to share what these players are going through. And today what they're going through is that they're hurting. And I have prided myself in being able to be objective and cover these sorts of issues. But when it is so clear that the system of objectivity in journalism is so whitewashed and doesn't account for the fact that when I am walking up the hill, my wonderful producer Melinda reminds me that Breonna Taylor was 26 and I am 25, and that could have been me. It is very hard to continue to go to work, and that's what these players were feeling. Now, players on both sides face truth, and to share.
Stop that. Yeah, and I think she puts it way better than I can. I'm not a person of color. I stumble over my words when I talk about stuff like this. I don't really have much words other than outrage, I guess, is like, because I just, I stumble over my words when I talk about stuff like this. But it's just I just don't understand how this is what we have. These are like the only charges, like the wanton endangerment or whatever it's called, like how that from all the facts that I have read about and heard about, how that is the only thing that came out of this. It's just like people just continuously get killed in this country and nothing happens. And it just is a continuing cycle. And I just don't know what needs to happen for something to change. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy to understand why she got emotional. I mean, I know a lot of Black people who feel like America doesn't have their back right now. And that's a problem. And I think she was very courageous, very bold for coming out and talking about that and having a moment of vulnerability, on live TV with a lot of people watching. And I think more journalists should do the same thing, whatever their background might be.
Yeah, Mallory?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the line of, as journalists, we're supposed to stay as objective as possible, but there are certain points, like Jesse said, where, it's a human rights matter. It's, life or death situations, you just can't stay silent about that stuff, and there needs to be some change in this country.
Yeah, and that's a discussion that's come up a lot in the time that I've been in journalism school, is like, should you be objective if you're ignoring obvious injustices that are going on? And unfortunately, there's been a lot of those this last little while. So that's something we've talked about a lot. And I agree with Malika Andrews that as long as you're fighting for like the right cause and you're doing it for the right reasons, you should be able to talk about that stuff. Whether you're a sports journalist or a regular journalist, I don't think it should matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And just from, my perspective, like, something for me that I will speak out about because I've dealt with it, is like mental health stuff. And, that is something else that is neglected and continues to be neglected. And so like, I have no problem just going off and ranting about that on whatever social media platform. Like when Skip Bayless talked about Dak and how Dak was like, I think he said something like he was being weak for coming out and talking about his mental health struggles. Like that's one, like, I'm just not going to sit on the sidelines for that and be some sort of, objective person about that. If you can even be objective, like there's certain things like human rights, civil rights, like people's mental health, just being nice to people. Like at the end of the day, the root cause is that we just need to be nicer to each other.
Right. That's the issue you run into when you start talking about the whole, being more open about social issues thing is there's going to be people who have the opposite opinion, which like by principle, they're allowed to share that. If we're allowed to speak out against these things, then people who might feel the other way are allowed to defend them as well. So that's the issue you run into with that. But I agree. At the end of the day, being a good person is not that hard. And I think if people tried it, they'd realize that. So it's not that hard. Be good.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that want to be so right that they just can't just move on from being, a bad person. Like you just, like the ability to be like accountable and kind versus being right, I think has gone the way of the dinosaur. And I think people just, can't just overlook like, this is, all this stuff. I'm mumbling, I'm rambling over my words, but at the end of the day, just be nice to people. Mallory, your Heat won.
Yeah. The Heat are up 3-1 against the Celtics. 1 win away from being in the finals. I don't even know what to say. I'm so excited. Like, so many people doubted the Heat, and for them to be, no, don't roll your eyes, Jesse. You were one of them.
I picked them in October to go to the finals. You can ask Travis. We talked about this. They were my the only time I doubted them was mid-season in their slump. But I always thought that
TNT, ESPN, they never talk about the Heat. So now when they're having to call these games, they don't even know how to pronounce the players' names. It's so annoying. Put some more respect on the Heat's name. Hopefully after this year, that will start to happen. The Heat will start to get more televised games nationally for the regular season, because it's just ridiculous that all these broadcasters and stuff don't know anything about the team.
And that is not just an NBA thing either. That's been happening in the Stanley Cup playoffs too, especially with the Stars. I mean, Doc Emmerich was driving me nuts the other day. I know we're not talking about hockey right now, but this is relevant.
Trashing Doc. Wow, here we go.
He butchered the names of at least a fourth of the team. Maybe even more. It was ridiculous. If your team has made it that far in the playoffs and the national broadcasters are still mispronouncing everyone's names, that's upsetting. That's upsetting. You feel like you're not getting the respect you deserve. So yeah. I can relate to that big time, Mallory, and I'm glad you brought that up.
Thank you.
Who do they mispronounce, Mallory?
No, I mean, it's kind of stopped, but like Bam Adebayo, like
Adebayo, I've heard about
Kelly
him.
Olynyk, like I
Oh,
don't
come
know.
on. Don't people know Kelly Olynyk from Gonzaga? Like, he was like one of the best players in the college basketball when he was there. Come on, people
Everyone always gets Dragic's name wrong. They say like, yeah,
I say
Dragic.
I can't say his name. It's
They say
really hard.
Dragic when it's Goran Dragic.
Goran Dragic is not that hard to say, Jesse. I'm sorry.
I say
But
Dragic,
it's
Dragic.
the whole thing is 4 syllables. You can't figure that out.
I just call him the Dragon.
You can say my last name, so you should be able to say Goran Dragic.
Yeah, but okay, so
Yeah, you're not friends with him. That's true.
Backstory: 2 years ago, when we were going through our peer mentor training, we had to sit and like with like y'all's names and like run through them in our heads so that we like got them down and like looked at pictures and like made sure that like we knew who you guys were before y'all got to ASU. Like, I'm terrible with names, so I like spent an entire night in my dorm room like trying to like remember y'all's names. So
it doesn't surprise me. I would have just ran with it, honestly. Like, if someone has like a tongue twister, I'm just gonna plow through it. If I butcher it, I butcher it. That might be hypocritical of me, given that my last name is like 10 letters and a whole bunch of consonants jumbled together. But whatever.
I found
it seems like a lot of effort for not a lot of reward.
I found a especially you. I had to like get you down, and then we know how you acted as my mentee.
Yeah, I have trouble following rules sometimes.
And then
that hasn't changed.
We're totally on a tangent, but
it's banter. It's banter.
I actually found some texts, like not to you but to other mentees from like 2 years ago. And I was reading them, and I was just like, this is so cringy. Like, I said, hey, I got a pot event tonight. Please come. And then this girl that was my mentee said, oh, I've got chapter tonight for my sorority. I was like, okay, well, that's cool. If you get the chance, stop by, but have fun at chapter. Is your semester going okay? And then she was like, yes, thanks for asking. I was just like, why did I do that?
I mean, those pod events were a tough sell, man. Like freshman year, you're just trying to get acclimated, like meet people. So like, I don't remember what type of stuff you had. It was mostly just in the lounge, right? Like,
yeah, I like watched Charlie Brown in the lounge one time.
Yeah, no, like that's just a badly designed system, in my opinion. Like, if you're new to college, you're trying to experience like all the good things about college, trying to get your fix. You're not trying to hang out in the lounge and watch The Bachelor. Like, I applaud you for trying, but you were set up.
My Bachelor event did very well, actually. So a lot of people like The Bachelor.
That was just an example. I didn't show up, so how would I know if it did well or not? That's just like.
I did a co-event with Haley, my friend Haley. So that was cool because we got like a lot of people. Because
you can take the credit. It's okay. She's not here.
I mean, it was probably her more than me.
I'll give you the credit though.
Nobody gave me any respect.
It's like 2 years late, but you get props.
Yes, I did. Did I make an impact on your life, Evan?
Yeah, like I wouldn't be on the show if not for you. Like I care about this. This is a big part of my life. So yeah, you definitely have.
I was always just, I had Nate. Nate was cool. He went to Matt's with me. He was the only person to go.
I still hang out with Nate. I like Nate.
He was the only person to go to Matt's with me. So that was cool. But way too much on this topic.
Yeah.
So Jeremy and I we went on Boston sports radio after the Celtics lost to the Heat.
There is one part of the radio that I did hear that I want to bring up. The Celtics would rather lose Friday so it doesn't have to ruin their Sunday.
It's amazing. Like, the callers were amazing. They were so mad. They're so irrational. Like, they're like, I can't believe we're losing to Tyler Hero. He's a 20-year-old kid. And, like, they're talking about how, like, they should – like, the Heat should have, like, traded up for like, the Celtics should have traded up for Tyler Hero, like they knew he was gonna be that good, and like, come on, like
I knew he
it's
was
just like Danny Ainge is terrible, and like firing Brad Stevens, who's like one of the best coaches in the league. It's just so funny, and like everybody just taking it too seriously. Our show would never work in Boston.
no.
I mean, people's expectations are just way too high in that town. They're so spoiled with all the Super Bowls the Patriots have won, the Red Sox World Series dating back to '04, and the Bruins won Stanley Cup, if you count that. But
Right.
mostly Patriots and Red Sox. But still, like Boston is like the
And
quintessential
Celtics.
sports town. They have won title 12 years ago, easy. But
They also went again in 2010. So
that's my point, though. Like, they're so used to winning, but they haven't been getting the results from the C's. So I get why they're upset. Like, it seems like they're in a position to win every year. Hell, I picked them to win the East this year, and now I look like an idiot. So yeah, like I feel their pain. There's no way I was ever gonna do that.
Why? See,
I
everyone
did.
doubted. Everyone doubted.
not me, except for
I'm
like
not a doubter. I'm
weeks in
a
February.
well-known Heat hater. Well known by everyone on this show anyway. But
I only hate the Heat in
back
private.
to what I was talking about, I understand, as crazy as it seems, like I can relate to Boston fans. Like I get where they're coming from because this team has disappointed them a lot lately.
Okay. Here's my thing. Jason Tatum is a future star. He's not a superstar yet. Superstars win games in the NBA. The Miami Heat have the lone superstar in this series.
No,
They got Jimmy,
no.
they got Jimmy Butler.
No,
He's
no,
a superstar.
no.
Yeah.
That's the difference between the Heat and other teams. There's not just one superstar.
I know. Well, I know, but like I'm
It's
just
a
saying
team
that
full of stars.
you have to have they're not a team full of stars. They're a team full of some really good role players that go alongside Jimmy Butler. Bam, still.
No, you're wrong. You're
I'm right, Mallory. I'm right. No one else on the Miami Heat is a star other than Jimmy Butler.
Okay.
Jimmy
so
Butler is multi-time All-Star.
Bam Adebayo and Goran Dragic have been All-Stars, but okay.
But they're not a superstar, Mallory. We're talking superstar. We're talking.
But Jimmy Butler is not. Jimmy Butler could be dropping 60 a night, but he chooses not to because they play as a team. So
But LeBron does that too.
LeBron
does that too. A lot of superstars do that. Larry Bird did that. He was a great passer. Wilt Chamberlain, people said he was a ball hog, so he stopped scoring as much, started passing, and showed how amazing of a passer he was. So I'm just saying that Jimmy Butler is a superstar. He's in commercials.
I missed like a good chunk of what you guys said, but I agree. Aside from Jimmy Butler, there are no players on the Heat you can argue are superstars. Bam Adebayo is a very good player who has the potential to get there because he's still young. But 16 and 10 is not superstar numbers. That's not a superstar stat.
All-star.
No, I'm not saying
Really
he was an all-star this year.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying
that is a fact.
Really good. One of the best big men in the league, but not yet a superstar.
I'm hesitant to even call Tatum a superstar. I mean,
no, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying
Tatum's
still too young.
That future, to be fair. Be fair.
In 7 years,
I don't know that he gets there, but it's possible. It's possible. But I will say
7 years, he's going to average 26 a game and be one of the best players in the league. But
he needs to work on his clutch shooting, man. I mean, they could be up in this series if he just made some shots in the clutch. Like, it's worth noting he's been wildly inconsistent these whole playoffs. So obviously, as a young player, you're gonna go through those ebbs and flows. But I'm not sure he's gonna get to that next level, like you say. But again, like that's just pure speculation.
Have you seen him play live?
It's possible. No, I haven't.
Okay, I have, and I can tell you right now, from what I've seen, I see players play in Phoenix, and so this is different.
Okay, but you can say that about almost every good NBA player. You're getting more of the experience live. You're going to see things that you wouldn't notice on TV with any player. That's not unique to him. I am not a fan of James Harden, but when he came to Phoenix 2 years ago and dropped 57 points, I was like, dang, this Harden guy is like really good. So that experience of going to the game and seeing them do like what they do live it has that impact for any player. Like, I don't
Russell
think
Westbrook going off.
being a superstar. But
So,
like, we're off topic. We're off topic either way.
No, I mean, no, we're still on topic because my point is here, and I don't know why Mallory isn't backing me up with this. She's just trying to argue some other argument that like is
I don't.
unrelated to
Because
this.
they don't. I know.
I'm saying, Mallory.
Okay.
I'm saying, Mallory. That
I
she
know
has-
them. I know the Heat players. I know like what they want. Like
I
personally,
know, Mallory. I know.
they don't want to be seen as Jimmy Butler and the Heat. And
They
Jimmy
are,
Butler
but
doesn't want that.
unfortunately,
I don't think it matters what they want.
Unfortunately, the
perception-
facts are that they are Jimmy Butler and the Heat. They would not be here
No,
without
it's
Jimmy
not.
Butler. They
It's-
probably would. They might have not even made
It's
the
the
playoffs.
Miami Heat made of Jimmy Butler, Goran Dragic, Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, Jay Crowder, Andre Iguodala, Kelly Olynyk,
Mallory.
Derek Jones
See,
Jr.
They win because they have scoring by committee. Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
Mallory.
That's
Mallory.
an abundance of very good players, not like a top-heavy team with a couple superstars that carry the load, like the Lakers.
Yeah.
It's Jimmy Butler because he has that brand, he has that name recognition, and he's proven that he's one of the best players in the league. And then you got some emerging players who could get there but aren't there yet, and then role players who can score. So that's
Yes, but-
that's the makeup of this team. It's
but
one
you're-
superstar and then a good supporting cast.
To make my point again, and Mallory, please don't interrupt me. My point is, I know that their supporting cast is great. That is, but the Celtics also have a great supporting cast.
Not as
My thing is that the difference in this series is that Miami has a superstar that has been there, and whether or not he is, the number one option on offense or whatever, he's still that veteran presence. He's a good leader. He's nothing phases him. He is that superstar that you need in these big moments. And so that's my point to say that usually now the 2003, 2004 Detroit Pistons might argue otherwise, even though Chauncey Billups, Rasheed Wallace, Ben Wallace, all those guys you could argue at one point in their career were superstars. But I'm just saying that you need a superstar to get past, the Eastern Conference Finals, and the Miami Heat have that player, whereas the Boston Celtics, I don't think do. So that was my point. And
But if you've watched enough Heat games this season, you would know that Jimmy Butler isn't the go-to guy in those situations that you are talking about.
okay, well, that's again not my point. My point is that he is that guy, no matter what he is. No matter what,
he's not that guy.
Yeah,
You're wrong.
but no, he is like the emotional team leader guy that is like, the veteran presence,
You're wrong again.
the multi-time All-Star,
I think you are overrating him a little bit, honestly, because let's not forget, before this year, his playoff.
he's better than anybody on the Celtics. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree, but you could make an argument that Tatum is better. You for sure could.
I really like Jimmy Butler. I always have. Defense wins championships. He's a defensive first star. So
Not this year.
19.9 points per game, 6 assists, 7 rebounds, 46% from the field. I mean, not eye-popping numbers, but very good. So, yeah, I don't know. All right, well, enough NBA talk. Our hockey correspondent walked away, and I know Mallory didn't watch the Cup for obvious reasons.
I'm back.
But I'm sure Evan.
I heard someone say hockey.
I mean, I doubt she would watch the Cup because the Heat are playing. Maybe she did 2 TVs, but Heat are.
Yeah, no. I'm thinking we're gonna do another brief recap here tonight because I'm actually kind of mad at how this game turned out. So it started off really similar to Game 3. Stars were sleeping out of the gates. Tampa jumped on them early for 2 goals. And the only difference between tonight's game and Game 2, which is what I should have said, tonight was Game 3. But the only difference was Tampa let up after the first period in the last game. Tonight they didn't, and the result is that they beat the Stars 5-2. Really should have been 5-1. I don't know what Tampa was doing on that last goal. I saw someone on Twitter say it was like an 11:30 p.m. beer league goal, which I think is pretty spot on. It just bounces around the crease and then eventually goes in. No one's paying attention. No one knows where the puck is. So that was kind of funny. I mean, it doesn't mean anything, not an important goal. And yeah, if Dallas doesn't win the next one, they're done. That would be
Are beer league hockey games going on right now at Oceanside? Like, are they playing through the pandemic?
No, they don't know when their season's going to start. But I also want to say, Steven Stamkos played his first game of the playoffs tonight, and he almost had the game-winning goal until that late freak show of a goal happened. He had the game winner and had it taken away from him. The guy played 2 minutes in this game. 2 minutes and 47 seconds. He hops on the ice for one shift, scores a goal. Beauty of a goal, by the way. Blows right by Essa Lindell with whatever injury he has, which clearly is serious because he didn't come back to the game after that shift. He was on the ice for 2 minutes and almost scored the game winner. So Steven Stamkos, that 30 for 30 is going to be pretty insane if Tampa wins the Cup. I mean, that's just great stuff. So I guess
think they're making a 30 for 30 on the Tampa Bay Lightning. I don't know if that one will. I don't know if the ratings will be good enough on that one, man. I hate to break it to you.
Okay, did they make a 30 for 30 about UVA when they lost to the 16 seed and then came back and won? It's the same type of deal here with Tampa. They didn't.
Yeah, but that's like
okay, let me finish. No, I'm talking right now. Last year, they almost broke the all-time NHL record for regular season points and wins. They tied the wins record and didn't win a game in the playoffs. They were humiliated. And now this year, they might win it. So it's the same exact story. And I just want to point out, Victor Hedman is fantastic. He has 10 goals in these playoffs after tonight. And I think the main reason they got swept last year is because Victor Hedman only played 2 games and was clearly not right. I mean, he got for my money, he's the best defenseman in the NHL when he's healthy. He does things that no one else in the NHL can, that no one else in the world can. And tonight, that was on full display. He ends up getting a game-winning goal on the power play, less than a minute into the second period, totally killed any momentum the Stars had after they scored a shorthanded goal. So, you know, you could argue him for Conn Smythe this year. He's got 10 and 10 in 22 games as a defenseman. He's cutting off every single stretch pass the Stars try. He is taking over games for Tampa. And I feel like that hasn't been talked about enough because Kucherov has 30 points now, which is insane. Victor Hedman is sick, and he's the best defenseman in the league.
He is on the street.
Jeremy, can you show your face, please?
Jesse, the heat is on.
Can you show your face, please? I don't care. I know you're in bed, but just show your face. Okay, no.
Tell me, can you feel it?
The week isn't over yet.
Tell me, can you feel it? The heat is on. The heat is on.
You know you have to win one more
The
game.
heat is on. It's on the street. The heat is on.
I'd do anything to be in the American Airlines Arena, hearing that with the cheerleaders and Bernie going.
Are we going to get Game 5 in the Garden? Are we going to get the look from Tyler Hero this game, Mallory?
I don't know.
It's going to be interesting to see. Celtics are done. The Heat, if only your team was 11-2 in the playoffs. I mean, it couldn't be like.
It could only be us.
Only be us. Like, it's amazing. Anyway, Dallas Stars, what happened?
We talked about that. Basically, like I said, it was the same blueprint as Game 2 to start out. They came out flat. The only difference is that Tampa didn't let them off the hook this time. After the first period in the last game, they stopped playing, and Dallas was able to make up some ground. But tonight didn't happen. Victor Hedman is really good. That was basically the recap right there.
Heads.
Anyway,
Only reason
Speaking
only
of,
reason I want
You know what?
Tampa
Hold
to
on,
lose.
hold on. You know what that game was tonight? It was a heady play.
shut up, Jesse. Yeah, only reason.
No.
Yeah.
Only reason I want Tampa to lose is so that so for the tweets, for the memes.
And we kind of, I mean, like, we know this is Evan's second favorite team, but we kind of want Evan to be happy. I mean, like, it'd be nice for Evan's second favorite team to win, you know.
Honestly, I feel like I'm going to be happy either way just because of how mediocre this team's been over the past few years. I didn't think they were going to do anything. So even if they lose, like, I'll be fine with it.
Yeah.
I just want to see a good series. And right now, it kind of looks like it's not going to be that good of a series. Tampa's got all the momentum right now. And they got a back-to-back coming up, games 4 and 5. So that's why they pulled Hudobin in the third period. I mean, the game was already over by then. But, yeah.
You were talking about
big names did not come through tonight for Dallas, and that's been a theme so far in this series.
Are we drinking milk? I'll get some milk too. But you're
Best
talking.
beverage in the world.
Yeah, it is. Really is. We were talking about the blueprint there, Evan. And I think the best blueprint in the world is Pat Riley's blueprint to win a championship.
I knew where you were going with that.
It's perfect. It's amazing.
You know what I think the best blueprint is? Either the blueprint or the blueprint 3. I like the blueprint. It's one of the first Jay-Z albums. The blueprint 3 is a little bit later in his career. It came out around 2008, 2009. Has, you know, New York or Empire State of Mind, Alicia Keys. It's a great song. It's one of the best.
Classic.
But the blueprint, you know, 1 is just a masterpiece. It's more, you know, technically sound. Excuse me, that was awful. Yeah, but Jay-Z really good. I was watching videos from his concert and that I saw, you know, 3 years ago, my freshman year in Phoenix at Talking Stick Resort Arena.
Wow.
Very nice.
Yeah, back when we used to be able to.
I'm going to do an on the brink, but this one's on the hot seat. Brad Stevens on the hot seat?
That's a bold take.
I love it, Jeremy. I love it. Milk is so good. I got 2% over here, Jeremy. What do you have?
Not free. Yeah.
We've got almond milk.
Just water.
We've got almond milk over here, but I don't drink it. I just use it to cook my mac and cheese.
Ew.
By the way, I made some really good mac and cheese yesterday.
Not as good as my mac and cheese, I can tell you that.
Was it just Kraft out of the box, but you added
No. I went the whole kits and caboodle. What is it?
whole 9 yards? I don't know why it's the whole 9 yards, because you need 10 yards to get a first down.
Yeah, well, you get 9 yards on first down, you're more than likely going to get that 10th yard on second.
Mallory, put it on the poll. Should it be the whole 10 yards instead of the whole 9 yards?
I don't think it was a
I
football
never
reference.
thought of it like that.
Well, Jeremy, everything's a football reference. Speaking of football, I forgot to mention the other sad news of the day. Jeremy and I have a favorite old player, and he is Gale Sayers, and Gale Sayers died today at 77. He had dementia. I didn't know that, but he was running back for the Bears in the 60s.
A lot of people around Montana, like this area, huge Gale Sayers fans. Like I see Gale Sayers shirts all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the connection there? Wasn't he from
I have
Canada?
no idea. I think just people love Gale Sayers.
He was the Kansas Comet. He was an All-Pro for the first 5 years of his NFL career. He had a knee injury, but watch Brian's Song. It's a great movie. I don't know if you've seen it, Jeremy.
Yeah, I mean, it just.
I enjoy The Express a lot more with about Ernie Davis. A really good movie, by the way. Syracuse legend.
Back to Gale, though. It's like it's always tough when like an old legend of the game dies. Like I feel like that's been happening a lot lately, especially in hockey. Like Dale Hawerchuk, Gordie Howe, Stan Mikita, all these guys. I'm definitely forgetting people too, which I shouldn't be. But you know, I feel like that generation is slowly starting to die out, and it's kind of sad because obviously like Gale Sayers is a legendary player, and he will be missed.
Yeah, but it was, you know, at least he got to live, 77 years.
Can we talk about the other big changes of the day?
He got farther than most people do in life, so we'll give him a little credit there. He's kind of a Hall of Famer and everything. So yeah, he did all right.
Yeah, but watch his highlights. It's really fun.
Did we talk about the other big hockey news of the day, though?
Oh yeah, go get it, Jeremy.
Jeremy, get over it.
Go get it, Jeremy.
And did that ever like officially go through?
Not yet. No.
At
Still
this
working
point,
it out.
at this point, I think the trade is off. Like that got reported early this morning, and now it's like 15 hours later and there's still no deal done. So I feel like
I mean, there probably is a deal done, but all the reporters are, stuck on.
It's also like, are trades allowed to happen right now? Like,
hold on. I think it's hilarious that the holdup was over Hornquist's salary and not Matheson, which is on the books for 6 more years.
it's a good contract though. Like, it's a low salary contract.
Not really. Not really. Not for what he provides. Like, is he an elite defender? No. Is he a shutdown defenseman? No. And he had 20 points this year.
He was
Is
really
that
good.
is that a reasonable value for what he's being paid?
He was really good when he first came into the league. I really liked him.
I like offense first defensemen, Mike Green,
Yeah,
Carlson.
Which is fine if you actually put up points. You can have deficiencies in your game that might lead to goals against and giveaways and stuff. But if you can put up points, then the coaches are willing to overlook that.
Yeah.
But again, he had 20 points this year, so that doesn't justify some of the mistakes that he makes away from the puck. So, like, I don't understand why Jim Rutherford made this deal. I get Pittsburgh is trying to redesign that blue line. They've already said Justin Schultz isn't coming back to the team. That's not a surprise to me. But I don't think adding up on more mediocre defensemen is going to help Pittsburgh at all. And Hornquist, I think, is a good get for Florida. They need some more grit in the lineup. He's as gritty as it gets. So
I think at the end of the day,
if the deal goes through, I think it's a win for Florida. But I'm not holding my breath.
Also, at the end of the day, he could end up being a trade piece in a bigger deal for Florida because they do need defensemen.
Because we don't
They go for those blockbusters, the Panthers.
He does put up like good points.
I mean, a bigger deal for the team. You know what
Like, the Panthers don't really need that much more on offense. It's just the defense. It's like,
I mean, they didn't score really any goals in
There's more depth. I mean, their top guys are good. Like Huberdeau and Barkov are 2 of the best players in the league, obviously.
Doobie.
But they might not bring back Hoffman or Dadonov or both. So that's a question mark. I'm not sure what Bill Zito's plan is.
Sign both.
So, but they, with a flat cap and the rumors that they want to cut payroll, you can't have your cake and eat it too. So, Zito is going to have to make a compromise here somewhere. We'll see what that is. But I think adding a middle six winger like Patrick Hornquist, who can play on the power play in that net front spot, agitate the other team to no end, and play that gritty game, which will come in handy if they make the playoffs again. I think it's a good get for Florida. And the cost isn't too high considering they're also getting rid of Matheson's contract, which is an absolute anchor. So
I got a question for you.
Again, if the trade goes through, then this is a win for Bill Zito in his first trade with the Panthers. So
Jeremy, I got a question for you real quick. So this is totally off topic, but my favorite part, and I forgot to mention this, of the post-game callers on Boston Sports Radio was the first guy we listened to on, I think it was WEII.
EI?
I don't know. It was the first station. We listened to 2 different stations tonight. Who said, I'm almost as frustrated with this team as I have been with the Red Sox over like the last few years. And I was like, they won the World Series in 2018, bro. Like they won 4 World Series since 2004.
I think my 2 favorite parts that happened in this were they want the series to be over. They just want the Heat to take care of business on Friday so that it won't ruin their weekend. And the other thing that was the best was the looking back at the draft. If we had taken Tyler Hero, what great of a team we would have been. Or why didn't Danny H trade up? He just wanted Taco Fall. And
yeah, like they knew Tyler Hero was going to be anything special.
I mean, it's such a Riley pick, though. Like, he went to Kentucky. Bam was obviously in Riley's ear about taking the kid from Kentucky. Like, it's a Riley pick. Like, nobody.
Also, like let's hold our horses, and Mallory will probably get mad at me for this, but the dude averaged like 13 points a game in the regular season.
Okay.
That doesn't matter.
Here's the thing, though. I'm not saying that the Celtics should have known to trade up for Tyler Hero at the time of the draft. Like, he wasn't that hyped up. But if Tyler Hero was on the Celtics right now and not on the Heat, do you think the Celtics would be losing the series with all the close games that they
I don't think Tyler Hero would be the same player he is today anyway.
That's what I was going to say. Tyler Hero needed
players like
Udonis Haslem to teach him the culture.
Yeah, he needed players like Jimmy Butler and Udonis
You
Haslem.
don't think Boston has a winning culture? The team with the most.
No,
NBA
maybe they have a winning culture, but they don't have the culture.
Correct.
Give me a break. And they have shooters too. They can develop shooters up there. I don't know what that nonsense is about.
Who's
But
their shooters besides Jason Tatum?
Marcus Smart's been amazing from 3 in these playoffs. Is he inconsistent? Yeah. Is every 3-point shooter prone to cold streaks? Yeah. So there you go.
Robinson couldn't be him.
Yeah. Well, Marcus Smart, they wasted the Marcus Smart game in game 1 because he went off in game 1, and then he decided to just be Marcus Smart for the rest of the series, which is elite defender, bad offensive player. And that's what's happened to the Celtics.
Every shooter goes through cold streaks, okay? That's not up for debate. Duncan Robinson, as good as he is, he doesn't even make half of his shots from 3. Like, no one does if they shoot enough.
Okay, there's one more thing. I didn't get to say anything about the Panthers trade. What I'm most concerned about, besides not getting defensemen, is that all of mine and Jeremy's jerseys are now from traded players. Number one thing on our Hanukkah list, Huberdeau jersey for me. I don't know, Barkov jersey for you, Jeremy. Like,
I don't even know who my favorite player is on this.
I know that now you get my pain. You feel what I felt in February?
You've got to do what you got. Like, who's the best player in franchise history?
Oliokinen.
Get his jersey because it'll always be okay. Like
Oliokinen.
You get one of those legends because they all.
Luongo didn't do really anything, but
is it Jokinen though? Because Huberdeau now has more points than he does, and they never won anything when only Jokinen was there. They lose playoffs with Huberdeau, so I think it's Jonathan Huberdeau and not Oli Jokinen. But either way, like, Jonathan Huberdeau is a great player, but he's not untradeable either. He's a player that
I think he's untradeable.
You get the right pieces back, you would consider trading him because he's a winger. If he was a center, then no way. But like, that's the thing. Like, very few players spend their entire career with one team.
Well, and the thing with Florida is, and this will be the last thing I say about it, they're in a win now mode because we don't know how much longer Quenneville wants to coach, especially a team that is getting knocked out in the first round of the playoffs or not even making the playoffs.
HQ.
So I think Florida needs to go out and make those trades. They're going to probably keep their young assets and like Huberdeau and Barkov.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying they're going to trade them now. There's no way that's happening. But down the road, like, my point is, there's no guarantee that even those guys are going to spend their whole careers in Florida. So, you know, you shouldn't let that thought stop you from buying a jersey.
The bladder.
I've said this multiple times about Ekblad that he could be unprotected.
I have heard
the bladder.
There have been rumors about Ekblad, like, recently. I'm talking like last week, 2 weeks. Some people think Toronto's going to get him.
Yeah, he could be traded.
Relieving the bladder.
Probably not.
Sepp Blatter, he's the president of everything. You remember that?
Get out.
Anyway,
remember that?
Are we ready to move on? We're talking about Ekblad trade rumors right now. Are we ready to move on?
No, I mean
the bladder. They might be relieving themselves of.
Now I'm concerned.
The bladder.
I'm concerned. So it should be a Huberdeau jersey on my Hanukkah list.
No. Somebody that has already retired, that has a good reputation in the organization, because that jersey will never get old.
A blank 00 with Mallory.
I hate blank jerseys.
Oh no, you don't do that. No, that's like what the nerdy kid in high school did.
What are me and Mallory? We are the nerdy hockey fans in high school. Like, what?
No, just
no one in my high school likes hockey.
Go with a legend that has already retired and will always.
I'm not going with Roberto Luongo.
I'm not saying Roberto Luongo is not the answer. He's more of a Canucks legend than he is a Panthers legend.
That's not really true.
I mean,
I'm not saying this to be disrespectful, but the Canucks have more fans, and therefore more people are talking about Luongo for what he did in Vancouver. So,
yeah, but he also did more. Like, look at the numbers, dude.
And every time, which is once, he made it to the playoffs in Florida, he got benched. So he didn't do very much, and he got benched in Vancouver too.
He has one. He is up there with Tony Allen for worst retired jersey.
No, I mean
No. You are not comparing Roberto Luongo to Tony Allen.
no.
That is not happening.
I mean, he has the most shutouts in franchise history. Like, it's pretty good. Like,
Memphis Grizzlies retired Tony Allen's jersey while he was still
he
playing.
owns every goaltending record in the Florida Panthers books, guaranteed.
But that's because they suck.
He also played there a long time and was good there for a long time, and he came up in the league with Florida because he had a cup of tea with the Islanders, and then Mike Milbury traded him for
A cup of tea, but he didn't get a Stanley Cup.
He's a Panther just as much as he's a Canuck. The only difference is he didn't go on a Stanley Cup Finals run with Florida.
What are we doing, Mallory?
You got me.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Mallory, what you got? What do you got?
I said you got me. I'm not ready.
Jeremy is ready to go.
Scott Foster.
What are we doing?
Scott Foster.
See you, ref.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it. Okay. All right, Evan.
I touched on this earlier in the show, so sorry for the spoiler, but Doc Emmerich, learn how to pronounce people's names right. I'm serious. It's the Stanley Cup final. You've called how many
Dude
games
wins an Emmy every year.
You've called how many games these playoffs, and you still can't say Rope Hints. It's not that hard. It's not Heinz. He's not a ketchup bottle. It's Rope Hints, Doc. Please get it right.
He's 75.
Bob Cole got names right well into his 80s. He only retired last year, and that dude was older than the Pope. So I don't want to hear it. Doc Emmerich.
Is that a saying?
No, the Pope's just old.
Is he though?
He looks old. I'm not Catholic. I don't know. Either way, sorry Catholics if I offended you.
He is 83.
That was not my intention. So, Doc, get his name right. I'm serious. And that's not the only one he messed up, but that's the one that annoyed me the most because it's an easy name to say. Rope Hints. Say it after me. Rope Hints, not Heinz. Come on, Doc. I know you're better.
He played at Heinz Field. What are we doing? I'm just gonna go because I don't think Mallory has hers yet. She's probably waiting on she's probably still thinking. So what are we doing?
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Go back to the serious things. Breonna Taylor situation. I've already talked about it.
That's a way better what are we doing than mine.
Yeah. Sorry. But yeah, pretty sucky. I'm glad the athlete spoke up about it. It really sucks that, the majority of Americans can see the wrong on that, but the system can't. So
yeah. Just be good people. Come on.
Yeah. All right, Mallory.
I don't really have one, so I'm just gonna agree with Jesse's.
Yeah, Jeremy, what are we? Oh, did he already go?
He said Scott Foster and then left and hasn't been seen.
All right, we have one tiny little segment left. Mallory, Dancing with the Stars was just as terrible as the first episode, but I was all in and watched the entire thing. In more of one of basically in two sittings. Excuse me. And Charles Oakley got eliminated, so sad stuff there. What did you think?
I didn't watch a lot of it just because I had some friends over and we were watching the Lakers game, so it was on at the same time. But during commercials I flipped to it. They were hyping up the Caitlyn foot injury thing way too much. We all knew she was gonna be the last one of the night and end up performing. They do that every year.
Got a cortisone shot.
Yeah.
Fine. She did a great job
I
too.
love the new
That will
foot
take
pad.
the pain away, but it won't keep you from injuring it even more.
I know, but
Cortisone shots honestly are the most overrated thing ever.
I know, but it helped her do her performance. So,
are you gonna risk a permanent injury for Dancing with the Stars though?
I think a lot of the celebrities take it a little bit too seriously, but they're also paid a lot to be there. So,
Feel 10 pounds lighter.
What happened?
What do you think?
You pooped? What on a scale of 1 to 10? How good was it? It was good. It was 9.5, 10.
Did we talk about how Tyrod Taylor is going to get paid this offseason?
Wait, yeah, that should have been someone's vote.
Not in part of the collective bargaining agreement. So
Okay, we do need to talk about that though. Like, how Chargers is that? The team doctor given the QB a cortisone shot, cracked ribs, punctured his lung before the game. It's week 2.
How much money is Tyrod getting paid this offseason?
I am going to say something real quick. It is very reckless speculation.
Starter's lung. How did this happen?
I got it. I got the whole solution. Jeremy and I were talking about this earlier today. It is complete reckless speculation. Justin Herbert, he comes off as, a nice guy, not very controversial, but, got a little $500 in his pocket, goes over, sees a little needle with that. He says, what way can you get my teammate out of the game without, seriously hurting him? So, a little punctured lung, actual hospital visit, Herbert, starts the game and proves that he's a, good starting quarterback. And Tyrod, again, is on the QB carousel to another team. He'll start and get benched for another number 1 draft.
Tyrod is getting paid by the Chargers. Lawsuits galore coming.
No, he's not allowed to sue. Did you see the tweet?
No, what?
Like the CBA, like teams aren't responsible for incidents like that.
Wow, the NFL
former Broncos lineman
is unethical. Who could have seen this coming? I'm so surprised that clause is in the CBA. But either way, it's just the latest in a very long, very sad series of L's for our friend Tyrod. Remember when he was in Buffalo and they gave him that big extension and then they restructured it after a year, so he got paid like a third of what he was going to, and then they drafted another QB, and now he gets his lung punctured doctor. I mean, like, the guy can't catch a break. I feel bad for him.
Do you remember when poor Tyrod was having a great season? The Bills were headed to the playoffs, and just in the middle of the season, their coach decided it'd be a good idea to throw in Nathan Peterman.
That's true.
The Nathan Peterman experiment.
And then, what was it, 4 picks in the first half, and then they went back to Tyrod and made the playoffs. But like why? Like, poor Tyrod. Like, dude, this happened to him at Virginia Tech. Like, he was clearly the better quarterback than Sean Glennon. But Sean Glennon, Mike Glennon's older brother, who went to Tech and was terrible, just continued to be thrown out there like for like a couple of years. Well, I mean, it was like Tyrod was like, I don't know. They were both just like inconsistent passers, but like Tyrod could do more, but he was like wildly inaccurate until his senior year.
I get that coaches might not love the guy because he doesn't have the strongest arm. And he's not making any huge plays.
Are you kidding me? That's not a problem with him.
Compared to other NFL QBs, not really.
He used to throw in this facility in my home.
Starters in the league right now, I'd say he has between the 20th and like 25th strongest arm. There are some guys out there who can sling it. He's not terrible. I'm not saying he's got a noodle arm, but compared to some of these other QBs like Justin Herbert, who's got a freaking bazooka right there, like, yeah, he doesn't compare. But he makes smart decisions with the ball. He can move the chains. He can run an offense. He's a solid starter. He doesn't deserve to have his lung punctured by the team doctor. Put respect on Tyrod Taylor's name. Seriously.
By the way, Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, he does have a ring too.
Who?
Tyrod.
Yeah. He was in his second year as the backup with the Baltimore Ravens. I thought he would be a career backup. Honestly, his career has very much surprised me. But
he's been a starter a couple times.
I mean, he's been a starter for like 5 years in the NFL now, at one point or another. So, like, honestly, like, you throw him into that Super Bowl again with that defense, he might have still won.
He has been a starter 3 times in his career.
What about the Browns? Remember, he started the season as the Browns starting quarterback, so this is at least his 4th season.
He started 3 games for the Browns.
Yeah, but I'm saying he's been a starting quarterback for like 5 seasons of his career.
I think it needs to be a full season for him to count as a starter, though. unless he got injured, which is not the case.
500 quarter. He's a career 500 quarterback. Like, he's okay.
He's better than Blake Bortles, who just got signed.
Yeah,
Where is he?
Denver.
Yeah. Bobby back.
Cap's still out of the league, by the way.
Bobby's
Well,
back.
I mean, he hasn't played a down of organized football in like 5 years. So,
Yeah, I don't care. He's better than Blake.
like, someone should bring him in and see if he still got anything. But that long on the shelf, and you think he's gonna come back and be the same Colin
Oh,
Kaepernick?
Doug, you tried out Doug Flutie at his age. You know, he played a very long time. But you tried out current age Doug Flutie. He's
He
probably
went
throwing
5 years without playing in the NFL or without playing football. Period.
Yeah, but he's still better than Blake Bortles. Blake Bortles is, I mean, the Twitter account is probably being reignited right now. I mean, the Blake Bortles is like the GOAT Twitter account. I don't know. Jeremy.
Is
He's
back.
a temporary solution for while they wait for Drew Lock to get healthy.
He's not even going to start. He's going to be their backup.
Yeah. As soon as Lock is healthy again, Driscoll goes back to being the backup, and Bortles is toast. That's the plan here. And
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know if I think we've gone much further over than I actually wanted to go today. So Mallory, are you still there? No. So I will read the polls. That is the Devil's Digest Twitter account, not our Twitter account. So yeah, I'll go back to Monday's polls. Got a lot of Dancing with the Stars polls today. Has the NFL discovered invisibility? 80% yes. Is he in the conversation? 100% yes. Does 2020 need Oprah's talk show to come back? 60% yes, 40% of course. You get a car. Is there a more likable celebrity than Paul Rudd? 50-50 never happened before. Did we just realize that Jeremy's spirit animal is a duck? 71% yes. Does anyone need more Neve? 60% yes, 40% no. I think I voted no. I don't need more Neve. Does Neve have the widest smile you've ever seen? 100% yes. Were the gyrations mind-boggling? 50-50 never happened before.
Bruno said that.
These are so unenthusiastic and like lacking energy. You need to pick it up here, Jesse. Come on.
Miss Independent, still biggest jam ever. 100% yes. Is Bruno a human spaceship launching into space every time it's his turn? Because they're like, Bruno, your turn. And he goes, that was amazing.
Yeah, I was going to talk about the judges, but then you guys just like started talking about football. So.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mallory. That was Jeremy's fault.
You guys are going to get a kick out of this, I think. Are Terry Ann, Bruno, and Len still the judges?
Len is not a judge anymore.
Len is old.
So old, yeah.
Len is old and didn't want.
How long it's been since I've watched the show? It's got to be at least like 6 or 7 years.
Well,
So
this is Len's first season not on.
So they didn't want Lynn to
But
travel
didn't
because
know
of
that.
COVID.
So yeah.
So they didn't want Lynn to travel because of COVID. So he shows up on Zoom. like in the first episode, he showed up on Zoom and they were like, Lynn, what do you think about the night so far? And he was just like, it's great. So yeah, he's kind of.
Derek Huff is like, I love Derek Huff as a judge. He's a real no shade to Bruno and Carrie Ann, but Derek Huff is like.
Wasn't Bruno and Carrie Ann dancers too?
Yeah.
They weren't dancers on Dancing with the Stars though.
Yeah.
If that's what you mean.
That's not exactly what I mean. Like Derek Huff like teaches at conventions and is trained in like music videos, like just like not just ballroom dancing. So and he's judged other dance shows. Like I'm watching the dances when I watch the show, like kind of as a judge, and I say something, and then right after the dance, like Derek says like the same thing. So it's just like it's like a dancer's mind. He's a different type of dancer than like Bruno.
I can kind of just tell when they're bad and when they're good, and like. I would say there was a lot more bad this episode.
Unless it's really, really awful, I just wait until the judges like give their input, and then I'm like, yeah, okay, I trust you. I just love Len because he's so honest. Like he does not care at all. If the person deserves like a 2, he will give them a 2.
Somebody got an
Stuff
8.
like
It's
that.
Caitlin, right?
Yeah, but my favorite is when Bruno like does his like thing, and if you watch during the dance, Bruno will stand up to get a better look. It's so funny.
Do you think that Lynn will come back next year once that COVID
I
is
don't
over?
know. They've done seasons with 4 judges, so maybe. Sharna was a judge in the Australia Dancing with the Stars, but she's back as a pro this year. But yeah, Sky Jackson, she fell in her dance. I don't know if you
Yeah.
saw that. But
She's
what I was
fine.
saying during the dance, and this is like the instance, Derek Huff said like the same thing, which is like the height difference between Alan and Sky is so big that when you're doing the type of dance that they were doing, that's all about balance and up and down, it was throwing them off. And Derek said the same thing. So it's like, that's what I'm talking about when it comes to
All right, we got a couple more polls, and then I want to get out of here.
Huh?
Short, you've had tall partners before.
Do the slow dances bore you? 80% no. I don't know why. Carol Baskin had a good slow dance. Should it be the whole
Give me more
10
cha cha
yard?
cha.
What?
Give me more cha cha cha.
Should it be the whole 10 yards instead of the whole 9 yards? 100% whole 10 yards. All right, that'll do it for the show. Follow us on Twitter at the letter Y So Serious Show, and of course, good night, Canada.
Am I doing it right?